What If Clash at the Castle edition. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. Let's cheers. Let's talk some wrestling. This is a new segment that we're going to try here on the channel. It is a what if. It's basically where we're just going to discuss some what ifs that may happen at each PLE, some random stuff, and get our reactions to it.
Yeah, and if you guys have any in the comments or things you think might happen, what if this, what if that, what happens on Monday Night Raw potentially, feel free to let us know.
Yeah, so let's just get right into it. We have 6 what ifs lined up that we came up with. PLEs have been sort of predictable as of late, so hopefully this one gives us some curveballs. It has some good matches with potential curveballs inbound, but let's get into it. Our first what if. What if no champions lose at Clash of the Castle, including Mr. Sami Zayn?
That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
I think that's a tough sell for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I think you've got to have at least one belt change hands. I honestly don't really care which one. I think that one's most likely. If that happens and no belts change hands, then no belts are changing until SummerSlam.
Yeah.
They're not changing at Money in the Bank either.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think if they don't drop the belt off of either Sammy or Damien, then they have missed a big opportunity here. But it's also a big tell at the future. I think if Sammy loses, it's a big tell at like him having a good shot at Money in the Bank. And I think that if he wins, then it's a shot at like maybe Otis, somebody winning Money in the Bank. Anyway, it'd be interesting to not have a champion change hands, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the matches. So Cody's not losing.
Nope.
Jade and Bianca are not losing.
Nope.
I would say Sammy's not retaining. So there's two matches.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so there's 2 matches. Priest Drew, which I think is probably the most up in the air. And then you have Piper and Bayley. I think the only reason people wanted to pick Piper is because, the hometown. But I mean, I guess I could see them not dropping the belt, but I feel like it would just be too stale right now if that's the case. We talk about all the time how we miss the somewhat frequent title changes. Yeah. I feel like sometimes we need them just to shake things up a bit, even if it is like a swap, like maybe somebody drops it here and gets it back at Money in the Bank.
But that's what I think the Bayley Piper situation is going to go down. I've been very outspoken about. I think Piper is going to win this via a Chelsea Green interference, and then Bayley gets it back at Money in the Bank so that she can defend it and then eventually lose to Nia at SummerSlam. If no champions lose, and I think that you just miss the opportunity of guys like Gable being really over, and honestly Drew, because then people are going to go, oh, he's never going to get his moment. So
yeah, so there's 5 title matches.
Yeah, right.
As of right now, when we're recording this, potentially 6, but we'll stick with 5 for now. How many of those change hands?
I think my predictions are I think Piper wins. I think Gable wins. That's it. So I think 2.
I think 2 as well. I think 2 is a safe bet.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like I said, 2 of them are not. Yeah. So.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Speaking of one of the championship matches, we do have Master Gable taking on Sammy. It's probably the deepest of the storylines right now in the WWE. It's phenomenal, I would say. We have a next what if. What if Otis turns on Gable and helps Sammy to get the win here?
That's a interesting what if, I guess. I would, admittedly, I guess I wouldn't like that, but Sammy, I guess, could start building Alpha Academy and it could open the door for Chad Gable to get the Creed brothers and you could do like a faction thing, but at the same time, he's IC champion, so you don't really need that.
Yeah.
But I think that would be a big tell. If he does retain, that would be the route that they go to.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of what way do they go? Either they go faction versus faction or do they go Otis versus Gable?
Yeah, I mean, I think in this hypothetical universe of Otis helping Sammy to win, I think that would be interesting in the form of opening up the idea of the Creed brothers versus the Alpha Academy. An Otis-led Alpha Academy maybe, or you alluded to Sammy, which I guess would be the right play, but that would suck to me. But all in all, if Otis helps Sammy win, what that would mean is they really missed an opportunity with Chad Gable here because you can't just have him loll around that IC title for 8 months, right? So they need to go ahead and pass the belt.
Yeah, and it's been rumored for his contract. Obviously, it was up. And it's been rumored that they're close, or maybe they did sign, but one of the things was for him.
I heard it was lucrative as hell.
And for him to get that belt. So
he's hot as hell right now. I mean, he's doing his best work, in my opinion. So
yeah,
there's no reason for him to ditch like that.
Yeah. And it put Sammy onto something else different because Sammy's title reign has not been good.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's true. It's damn true. I guess we move on to the next what if, huh?
Yeah, why not?
What if? This one you've mentioned, or we've already mentioned multiple times, that we think that there are two for sure title retainments here of Cody Rhodes and Jaden Bianca. But on Monday Night Raw, they decided to give Shayna Baszler some life, admittedly. She got in there, wiped out Alba Fire and Isla Dawn like this, put him in a chokehold. I think he put Alba Fire in a chokehold, knocked her out. She looked really strong. She's had really good showing in NXT. If you don't watch NXT, she's been pushed pretty well there. So what if Shayna ends up winning this match by submitting or pinning Isla Dawn or Alba Fire?
Yeah, I guess it'd be your SummerSlam match. I guess it would be Shayna and Zoe versus Bianca and Jade, which I guess gives you a SummerSlam match. I like the way they've booked Shayna Baszler so far. Brings back like that NXT Black and Gold Shayna Baszler, who was a ultimate badass, could legitimate choke you out. So I guess I wouldn't hate it because it would be this is something different. It's a curveball. Admittedly, Jade and Bianca's run, we've thought who's going to take these titles off of them. So why not just throw a curveball and say, hey, well, here you go. Because they don't technically obviously have to get pinned or submitted. So
Bingo.
They still look strong and you can still build towards the future.
Yeah, if this happened, what it would be is perfect in a way, because this is the way that you let Jade and Bianca lose, as you just said. No one can realistically size them up and beat them, so you throw them in a triple threat tag team where they don't have to be pinned or submitted in order to lose those things, and that would give the feeling of, okay, maybe they're not, invincible here. There's rules within wrestling that allows them to lose these things. Shayna, is, like you just said, has been built up pretty well. She's a badass. It'd be a good way to do it back and forth the belts and really give this women's tag division some sort of drama that it's been lacking for years. I think it'd be good stuff.
Yeah, and Bianca at one point was selling a knee injury, so I feel like maybe you could somewhat play off of that a little bit. Maybe you take her.
Shayna attacks it.
Yeah, maybe you take her out of the match, and so maybe it's just Jade at that point. Jade does all she can, but in the end, Shayna gets one of Isla Dawn or Alba Fire. But I think there's got to be something because, like you said, it is so... Tag division's so dominated right now by them. Who's ever going to stop them?
Yeah.
Just shake it up a little bit.
Yep. I mean, let's be honest. They're not losing the belts. This is a what if. Move it on. What if? This is probably going to happen, but we have to talk about the implications about when it does happen. What if AJ ends up quitting this match?
Yeah, I guess I don't like the stipulation, as we've talked about before.
I agree.
The quitting stipulation, I get it, goes into the retirement angle. I understand that, but I guess wouldn't have done that way. I think if AJ does say he quits, I think obviously rumors of, well, not really rumors, we've seen it happen. WWE and TNA have kind of worked together. I think AJ starts maybe making some appearances over there. Maybe he recruits some people from over there, brings them over, and has some type of mini invasion type angle.
Yeah, I think it's been rumored for a while as well. Or the original rumors that I had seen was when he was going the retirement route was that they were actually just going to throw him to Raw. So maybe if he quits, then he just starts fresh on Raw. But you can't, if he quits, then that needs to be, as much as we would love to see AJ Cody round 3, if he loses back to back and one of them, he literally sits there and screams, I quit into a microphone, you can't continue that. You got to throw him into other territory. So, like you said, TNA would be cool. Going to Raw would be cool, but that has to be the end of Cody AJ then.
Yeah. I don't see Cody AJ going for a third time. And that, I guess, begs the question for not only AJ, but then Cody. I mean, what's Cody going to do at SummerSlam?
Yeah, that's a whole other question, yeah. They're just going to throw another random guy at him. Who knows? Move it on. Right now, the internet has no idea what is going on in terms of the Logan Paul LA Knight feud. There's rumors that, it's a Money in the Bank match. There's been rumors for months that they were going to line up for SummerSlam. But there's also been recent rumors that maybe they're going to shoo them into SmackDown this week and they're going to end up in a match on Clash of the Castle. So, I mean, there's another thing. Like, what if Logan Paul does end up defending his belt at Clash of the Castle?
Yeah, if Logan defends his belt at Clash of the Castle, I think it's a triple threat.
Yep.
I think it's LA, Logan, and Carmelo.
Yep.
Perfect way to go. you can get a really good match out of him. Carmelo gets some learning a little bit. Really fun, athletic match. Logan pins Carmelo. You build it up. Obviously, SummerSlam in Logan hometown of Cleveland. And then LA takes the belt off him at SummerSlam.
Yeah, that's 100% right. That's literally how it would go. You don't book this one-on-one. It doesn't need to be a back and forth where one guy loses. You don't need to have LA Knight take a brass knuckle to the face, 1, 2, 3 loss. You book it with Carmelo Hayes. That's why they're shooing him into the LA Knight stuff. You have Logan pin Carmelo. You move it on, and then LA Knight wins at SummerSlam. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wish there was more. As you said, there's a lot of uncertainty around the U.S. title. I wish there was more defined, like, rivalry. Like, I know it's LA Knight. I know it's Logan Paul, but I wish there was more definite, like, hey, we're going to see each other here. We're going to fight here. We're going to do this. I wish there was that.
LA Knight showing up to SmackDown. The other guy ain't.
Well, he was in a Tetris tournament.
Did he win that?
Probably not.
I would have seen headlines. Mm-hmm. Our final what if of this episode, our first what if episode for Clash of the Castle, is the question that everybody's been asking about the main rivalry, I would say, going into the event. What if Drew doesn't end up getting his moment here again?
Oh, man. I guess you could argue and say he's already had his moment, but to me, that's not really a moment.
No.
So what if he doesn't get his moment? I don't see him getting a moment, which kind of sucks to say because he's been doing some really good work. We've talked about before, Punk and him don't need the belt. So I don't know what you do. That's obviously a SummerSlam match. But, I mean, oh, God.
I'm with you.
I don't think there's any way you can't give him the belt.
No,
I know that goes against your prediction.
I think there's a lot of ways.
I know there's a lot. I know you
story
think
wise, yeah. Wrestling wise, but like personal wise, I see what you're saying. Of like, this guy's worked his ass off. He was before Roman came back in the COVID era. It was Drew McIntyre doing a lot of the heavy lifting. So I mean, Drew's great. Like and he's only evolved with his character over the years. He's one of those guys. I mean, I saw today as we're filming this, 10 years ago today, he was booted from the company. And now, 10 years later, he's maybe main eventing Clash of the Castle in his hometown of Scotland in front of a packed arena for the World Heavyweight title. Like, that's a hell of a turnaround. And his character's completely different. He continues to evolve that. But, yeah, I mean, the argument is always... Because here's my thing. When we talk about Drew's moment, what a lot of people think is, well, WrestleMania. Like, the only reason that we're talking about Clash is because it's in his hometown.
Right.
But, if he won the title on Payback, nobody's like, this is his moment. So if you're gonna label his moment as being like a WrestleMania moment, well, I mean, the next couple Manias have like Roman and Rock booked probably. Cody's still around. Seth's still around. Does he really get into those main title pictures? So yeah, it really is a if not now, when.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that kind of just solidified my choice for him to get the title because I admittedly think for him this would be better than a Mania. I mean, hometown, it's got
probably bigger.
Anybody would want that, So I think he's going to get it but then they've kind of booked themselves in a corner because you don't need the Punk and him for the belt. That's already sold itself. So you don't need that.
CM Punk doesn't need to be near a belt right now.
But then, Priest losing the belt, Priest keeping the belt, that's a whole nother thing. Like, I'm interested to see, this is the match that I think is most up in the air and most of kind of what if, because you can go so many different ways with it. I'm anxious to see which way they go.
Yeah, I am too. Obviously, I think that Damien's going to retain here, which leads me to say that which with me saying that, it'd be Drew's never going to get his moment. But, it's also like, just to finish this out, Drew is a heel now. That's technically his role. If WWE were to label him on a sheet of paper, you cut it in half and said, bad guy, good guy, he's a bad guy, right? Bad guys don't always get their moments. That's just not how it works.
Yeah. Luckily, though, wrestling's not on a sheet of paper. So I think they're more I think there's more tweeners, at least from the heel side. He's a tweener. So he's a tweener where, like, yeah, he's a heel, but he's also like kind of a badass. So like people like him. So it's like, oh, okay. Well,
he tweeted today that he thinks that the crowd is starting to understand that he's been the good guy all along.
Well, he also did cut it was maybe in an interview. He said CM Punk did some very personal bad things to him.
Yeah.
And if you look it up, like you'll see what he did. He's a terrible person, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, Drew's really carrying this feud, honestly. I know a couple weeks ago somebody said that wasn't the case, but Drew's putting in a lot of good hard work right now for this feud. But Punk's still gone. So that begs the question, like, what's going to happen when they come back?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I want Damien to win, but, you know.
And I want Damien to win. For the record, I want Damien Priest to win.
One of the reasons that I want 80% I want Damien to win, but 20% because, man, Drew would be the first to carry that belt and probably look like absolute gold with it. Like, big Scottish muscular dude, big gold belt. Obviously, we're belt guys. Check out our belt video. But so just seeing him with a belt would be cool. But yeah. Anyway, those are our what ifs for Clash of the Castle. We're going to do a what if video for every PLE from here on out. So catch those in the future. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you would like to see instead. And let us know what your what ifs are for Money in the Bank, I guess, and SummerSlam coming up. Yeah. Anyway, follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod, and get listen to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts at, Apple, Spotify, etc. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We are the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.